right, you guys, come on in. Come on in. It's your girl. It's your legal bestie, attorney Symone. And this is another episode of Girl, Is That Legal? So, in today's episode, we are breaking down the Shanon Sharpe lawsuit with the actual documents. Okay. Before we get started, of course, I got to do my little plugs because I still have a day job. I am an attorney. I'm based in Texas, but I handle cases nationally. And don't forget, I also own a title company, Experience Title. You can go to experiencetitleLLC.com. If you have a property that you need to close anywhere in the state of Texas, hit us up. We would be happy to help. And in addition, you can always go to my site, which is SimoneRedwine.com, to get my book, Background Checks 101. The Beginner's Guide to Discovering Who You're Really Dealing With for only $19.99. You can always come up here and click this little button, Book or Hire Symone. I start at just $149 for a 30-minute consultation. I had some really good ones today. And let me tell you, y'all, don't forget, tomorrow is Wednesday. Tomorrow, come right back here. Jesse Wu and I will be having another episode of our background check segment. Tomorrow, you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. I don't want to give it away too much, but it's going to be great. I think we're going to do it at 5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Eastern, but it'll be in the afternoon because it'll be in the afternoon time. But again, that's separate. That's separate. Now, listen, as I set this up, all right, we got 2 updates for the Buzbee lawsuit. Now, let's share this tab. Now, yesterday, and I can make this bigger too for you guys. Now, yesterday, as you're coming on in, let us know where you're watching from. And if you watched yesterday, what we established was that Buzbee announced his lawsuit, and then Shanon Sharpe posted his response. Basically, his attorney posted a response in which that attorney basically said it was all consensual. They stated that the girl, and post excerpts of text messages from this young lady. He also outed the girl. She's Jane Doe in the lawsuit Buzbee filed, which we have the actual lawsuit. We're going to go through it. But I want to put this in context. So this is what Buzbee posted today. He says, Shanon Sharpe released a false and misleading statement through his attorney. The gist of Shannon's statement was that this girl was basically trying to blackmail him, that she was taking excerpts of text messages from a consensual situation. He even posted a message where she told him, I want you to put a dog collar on me and choke me. Okay. And also he stated that she basically edited audio to show her side, to make it more favorable to her. So this is his response. He says, Shanon Sharpe filed a false and misleading statement through his lawyer. The statement from Mr. Sharpe's newest lawyer falsely accuses Miss Jane Doe of editing a video, a claim that is not only demonstrably false, but also desperate. The lawyer also suggests Miss Doe refused to make the video available to Mr. Sharpe. Again, this assertion is easily proven untrue. In fact, Miss Doe insisted that she watch it. Here is what is true, though. He says, although Jane Doe never referenced any video or multiple audios that she possessed in the lawsuit that she filed, so she didn't reference them in the lawsuit, she's saying now that Mr. Sharpe's lawyer has decided to broach that subject, I think it might have been breach that subject, we will address it. An incredibly damning video does indeed exist. The contents of that video speak volumes about Mr. Sharpe and his behavior. That video, which will be played to the jury, is extremely problematic for Mr. Sharpe. Mr. Sharpe's team, as I anticipated, it says, disclosed the existence of this video in an effort to try and get ahead of it. That effort will fall flat. In his statement, Mr. Sharpe's attorneys referenced several texts. Every text that Mr. Sharpe's counsel released today, allegedly from Jane Doe, are dated prior to the alleged brutal assault set forth in the lawsuit. Those texts were obviously released in an effort to distract the public's attention from the allegations in Jane Doe's lawsuit, and it won't work. Remember, I said yesterday, we need more facts. But one thing that never sits well with me is when I hear victims say, I was a victim, the assault took place on X day, and subsequent to that, they're texting back and forth in a friendly manner. And I said yesterday, I wanted to see facts because I said, if we see that, it's going to be a lot harder for me to believe that she is a victim. So I'm glad that that was one of the first things he spoke to, because we all know if you're truly a victim, you're not going to be shooting the shit You're not going to be over here kikiing, trying to link back up with someone that you believe hurt you. Now, the final paragraph, a little history. Back in early February, our office contacted Mr. Sharpe on behalf of Jane Doe and broached the subject of a meeting. This is correct, broach. Multiple conversations took place. Ultimately, a mediation occurred. Mr. Sharpe was represented by different lawyers in that mediation. That mediation process went on for more than 6 weeks, y'all, ultimately leading to Mr. Sharpe making an incredibly significant offer to settle. Incredibly significant offer to settle. And it says, ultimately, Jane Doe refused the hefty sum offered by Sharpe and instead filed this case. Now, hold on. For a Tony Buzbee to say that she was offered, and I will make it a little bit bigger for those of you guys if you're having trouble seeing it. Hold on, make it a little bigger for you. For a Tony Buzbee to say it was an extremely significant offer, I'm thinking that means double-digit millions, 10 mil or more. That would be my guess. 10 million or more, double-digit, big numbers. Y'all, we're going to pull up the lawsuit. TMZ said 10 million. Thank you, Justice. TMZ said 10 million. Okay, that makes sense. See, I said it. Double digits. I thought it would be at least 10 million. But here's what's interesting. She said she didn't want to take it and wanted to file this lawsuit. Ma'am. Here's the challenge with that. Yes, she was offered a settlement according to them. Here's the challenge with not taking it. Baby girl. And now apparently this happened 2 years ago when she was 19, so she's probably only about 21. Honey, this is a civil lawsuit. The only thing you can get, honey, is money. The only thing you can get is money. That's it. You can't get criminal charges filed in a civil lawsuit because that's not on the table. So it's odd to me that she wouldn't take 10 mil unless she just doesn't know any better. She's ignorant. Here's the other thing. If she took that money, keep in mind, she could still file criminal charges. Yesterday, we talked about the fact that there's a lot of personal injury lawyers that don't want you to file or pursue anything criminal until after the civil has been resolved. That is because if criminal charges get picked up, it delays your case substantially. Your case could actually be stayed. The civil case could be stayed under the law until the criminal is resolved, which could take years. And more than that, these guys would spend all their money on their criminal defense lawyers such that they may not have no money to settle later. All right. So is she wanting the civil to be settled before filing criminal? Apparently not, because she rejected a settlement. She rejected a settlement. She probably wants a bigger settlement. That's the only thing I can think of. She probably wants a bigger, but you got to run those numbers. Let me run them for you. When it's a case like this, okay, because I'm a personal injury attorney. A lot of people are like, what is your specialty? It's actually serious injuries, wrongful deaths. Anywhere in the nation, if you've suffered one of those, call my office, 214-575-8300. Okay. But the thing of it is with the civil cases, our initial fee is 33 1/3 if we resolve it without filing suit. Even if we go to mediation, 33 1/3 generally is what we get. But the minute we file that lawsuit, it bumps up to 40%. So if she's going to do that, if she's going to reject that 10, she must have a really big number in mind, like 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, whatever the case may be. And hold on one second. Let me confirm something. This is filed in Nevada. Hold on. Let me confirm something. Wait a minute. Let me find this. Find out. This was filed in Nevada, which is where she lives. Oh, okay. Which is where she lives and where he allegedly lived. What I wanted to confirm is every state has some type of a homestead exemption. If you remember, O.J. Simpson always kept a house in in Florida. Because in Florida, if it's your homestead, there's no max. You can have a $20 million homestead. And even if you owe a large verdict, they cannot force you to sell it. However, I just confirmed Nevada, which is where this is filed and where he lives, Shannon, only protects, it says, up to the first $605,000 of your homestead. In other words, Shannon wouldn't be able to buy like a $20 million Nevada home to prevent from having to pay her. So the point is, she can keep playing like this. I say playing. She can keep negotiating like this, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm very confused as to why. Like, I would be very curious as to what is the number she has in her head. And when I work with my clients, it's not just what's the number you have in your head. I have to be clear, sweetie, what's the number you want in your pocket? Because that matters even more. Because I may need to reduce my fee to get us to that number. I may need to explain to you what, like how I explained before, like, okay, if in your pocket, your goal is to have 5 million, then it's way easier to get there through a mediation number. But yes, so apparently it was a considerable number. Now, the next thing Buzbee says, and then we're going to listen to the audio, and we're going to, here we go. We're going to listen to the audio, and we're going to go into the lawsuit. It says, prior to engaging in the mediation process, Mr. Sharpe's counsel insisted Jane Doe sign a confidentiality agreement. Sharpe's attorney has now breached that agreement. They're probably saying by outing her name, they breached the confidentiality agreement, while at the same time deliberately revealing her name, phone number, and private messages that, again, predate the alleged R. That was of grievous error on Sharpe's part, because now all the things discussed and revealed in that mediation process will at some point be revealed here. Let me be clear, though, y'all. This is an argument without a difference. Even if there is a confidentiality agreement during mediation, anything that's discussed here, it's part of the case. It absolutely can be used in the case. There is no rule, there is no law, there's no contract provision that says, oh, if I sign a confidentiality provision in mediation, I won't use the information I learned against you in the case. No, you use it all. The only thing it would be protected is going to the media and making certain media statements. So don't be fooled. What he's talking about here, it didn't prevent them from ever going and sharing things in this lawsuit, but it was probably agreeing that they wouldn't go to the media with this confidential information. But it was going to come out regardless in the suit. So for him to say, because now all the things we discussed and revealed in that mediation process will at some point be revealed. Yeah, that's what the court process is for. You're not slick. It says Sharpe's new lawyer claims in his statement that the evidence paints a clear picture. He is right about that. It's just not the picture he wants the public to see. Although we will save the video discussed by Sharpe's lawyers for the courtroom, I would suggest that Mr. Sharpe's new lawyer take a moment to listen to his client at a different time on audio and ask his client for the real story, for the truth. In the attached audio, which was captured near the end of their relationship, Mr. Sharpe threatens to, quote, choke the ish out of Jane Doe. The contents of this clip are certainly not sexual. They are not playful. They are indeed disturbing, aggressive, and dangerous. This audio paints a very clear picture of how Sharpe treated Jane Doe, leading to her escape from him by leaving Nevada and blocking all contact with him. Okay, so the allegation is she left the whole state scared of him. So this is not the first time Mr. Sharpe has faced allegations of mistreating a woman. He also was sued in New York for alleged aggressive and inappropriate behavior, detailed extensively in that lawsuit. I will be pulling that one too. I found that one is too long to go. It's too much to do in one video. So stay tuned for that one. So this is not the first time. Okay. It says, instead of owning up to his actions, Sharpe has chosen to mislead his lawyers and the public and double down. This time by doxing Jane Doe and attempting to humiliate her and to silence this woman who is 30 years his junior. Disgusting. Mr. Sharpe's aggressive approach will instead have the opposite effect. Ms. Doe is not afraid of the truth. She relies upon it. I look forward to presenting the evidence in this case through the judicial process. Now, hold on. Let's see if we got the audio here. Okay, this is the transcript of the audio. I'm going to play the audio for you guys, but the key part of the audio is Doe says, I don't want to be manipulated. And he said, oh, Lord, have mercy. If you say that word one more time, I'm going to effing choke the ish out of you when I see you. Thank you. She said, okay, well, I don't. You don't what? Well, I don't want to be choked, she says. And there's like a long gap in the sound. You'll see it in just a minute. And then he says, yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter. Okay. Damning. All right. So, and then hold on. He just made one more statement. I think that's the same thing. McCoy. Here we go. This is the same statement. He just posted it in this way. All right, now we're gonna listen to the audio. Y'all ready for the audio? Let me look at the comments real quick. Somebody said it's getting worse and worse. Y'all hit that like button. We've got over 300 in here and less than 100 likes. Saw there was a lawsuit between Shannon and Michelle Evans that had similar accusations as Gabby. Correct. So we're trying to see, is that the Michelle? If it is, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not the Michelle from the leaked audio, because in part, she could have felt extremely embarrassed. Didn't she and her lawyer request 50 mil at first? I think the current lawsuit is 50 mil, so I don't know if that was the first number that they talked about. What confidentiality agreement if they didn't make a settlement? So it may have been that when they went to mediation, part of the terms of mediation is to sign a confidentiality agreement that whatever would be discussed in mediation, they wouldn't share with the media, because that protects the fact that, like, while they're going through that, because it said it took 6 weeks, they wouldn't have to worry about leaks. Can she prove what she stated happened with evidence? Other than that, it's a gamble. Look, that 10 million, Afra says, I don't know if I believe that 10 million figure. I wonder if Buzbee is being fast and loose with a significant illusion to influence public opinion, build public pressure, and renegotiate better settlement. It says she wants a Cassie type settlement. Could be. Home. Let's go on down. I know. Let's hear the audio. Let's get this audio. God, look at this face. Here we go. Uh-oh, can y'all hear it? If you can't, let me know.
I don't know. Anything I say, you're just going to like get mad at and you're just going to hang up on me. So I feel like...
if you can hear it.
I'm not going to hang up on you. Here's what it is.
What does that even mean?
Are y'all able to hear the audio? Okay, no, you can't hear it.
You want to be a dick to me now, so...
Oh, you can. Somebody says...
I don't want to be... Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm going to fucking choke the shit out of you when I see you.
See the gaps? See the pauses?
Thank you.
I'm going to choke the S out of you, but I see you. Mm-hmm. And then she responds back. And he says,
well,
it's out of your control. All right. Now, Felicia says, I want to know in the chat, do you think that this audio is edited? Do you feel like this audio is edited?
You know what?
Those gaps were, they felt odd to me. The gaps did not feel natural. It was such a long gap.
I don't think.
I'm going to go ahead and pause it. You guys are getting the gist. You're getting the gist of it. Okay, so we've got weird gaps. Silver Blue says weird gaps. Yeah, too many pauses. It does sound edited. Is it edited or dead air? It could be dead air. I think because it just doesn't make sense to say you don't have it like the... Let me here. Let's go back to what I'm gonna put the transcript up. So you had that transcript. Hold on, I'm gonna put the transcript back up. All right, the transcript said, make it bigger too. The transcript read towards the bottom. I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me, Sharpe. Lord have mercy. If you say that word one more time, I'm gonna effing choke the S out of you when I see you. Thank you. Okay, well, you don't what? Well, I don't want to be choked. Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter. That could pertain to a lot of things. That transition there. Well, I don't want to be choked. Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter. That could have referred to a few things in an unedited video. It could be, he could be saying something like, you just want to ruin me. And she could be saying, no, I don't. And he could be saying, yes, you do. Or he could be saying something like, I don't think you have a choice in the matter could refer to a number of things like signing a confidentiality agreement or a variety of things. I don't know. It just sounds weird to say. And it absolutely could be it. It could be, I don't want to be choked. You don't have a choice. I'm going to do it. It could also be that's something that we always do when we are intimate, is we do things like that. I don't know. It was weird. And then going back to the text just at the beginning, it started with Doe. I'm just like, I don't know. Anything I say, you're going to like get mad at me and you're just going to hang up on me. So I feel like I'm not going to hang up on you. It is what it is. She says, what? What does that even mean? He says, nothing, Gabby. You want to be a dick to me now. So, and he says, and she says, I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me. Oh, Lord, have mercy. If you say that word one more time, I'm going to effing choke the S out of you when I see you. Thank you. Okay, well, I don't. Also, here's the other thing. You guys got to remember, when someone knows they're recording someone else, it's real easy to be on your best behavior in a conversation. Right? Because she's not going to say anything. Let me make it bigger. She's not going to say anything to incriminate her darn self. Of course not. So I just say that to say, I'm still evaluating things. We're still going to see. So now let's turn to the petition. Let's get to the juice. Let's get to the meat and the potatoes. I'm going to put this on the screen. Oh, also, you guys, remember, I'm going to read some of these comments before we hop into it. But I want you guys to remember, if you are part of my membership, sorry, I'm looking all over, because I'm looking at the screen with the text. If you're a part of my membership, if you're on the co-counsel or the paralegal level, those are the higher two levels, you get all of these documents. There is actually, if you go to community posts and you click membership, if you click like the co-counsel or the other level, I have a link to the Google Drive. In that Google Drive, you have access to these. So if you're a content creator or whatever, I don't care. You're welcome to use this as well. Shannon. I'm wondering if it's edited. Can I replay it? Yeah, I'll replay it again. Here, let me start that. I'll replay it again a little later. Let's jump into this lawsuit. It's possible. Is this the audio they were referring to was edited? I don't know. I don't know if this is what they were saying was edited. I couldn't hear it in full. Can I replay it? We will. Yes, we will. I will replay it a little bit later. We're going to start with this lawsuit. I sent you an email to read after the live. Okay, thanks, Brittany. Even if it is, I still wouldn't be. This sounds like could be foreplay, someone says. Sounds like a dom and a submissive person. Remember, because the other text, yeah, the thank you was all. Hold on. Hold on. I don't know why. Here we go. Hold on. Maybe that's this. Let me play it again. Hold on. Okay, there we go. All right, my thing was doing something weird. All right, we're going to switch it to here. I'm going to go back to it. Here we go. And we are going to take this down. Hold on. And we're going to listen one more time. I actually couldn't hear it. So you guys were hearing it and it was like confusing me. So here we go. Let's go back to the audio. Audio is actually on this other tab. Hold on one sec. This is from Neighborhood Talk. Here, let me refresh it so you can hear it from the beginning. There we go. I don't know why I can't hear it. You're going to get mad at me. You're going to hang up on me. Pay attention to the pauses. And what is this thank you for? Pay attention to the thank you. So there's that thank you. All right, let me try it again. Hold on. Let me try it again with the audio. Let's do it again. Oh, I see why you can't hear it. Hold on. Because it's the other one. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry. We're going to do this again. All right. So now we've got it. I'm going to start it over so y'all can hear it. It's about to piss me off. from the beginning. And all right, let me know if you can hear it now. For some reason I can't, but who cares?
I don't know. Anything I say, you're just gonna like
You
get
should be able
mad
to hear
at
now.
and you're just gonna hang up on me. So I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
what does that even mean?
Nothing yet. You want to be a dick to me now, so
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
oh Lord have mercy. If
Pay
you say that
attention to the
one more
thank you.
time, I'm gonna fucking choke the shit out of you when I see you. Thank you.
Okay. Well,
Right? And then it's got this big old pause. Yeah, that was just odd.
I don't.
Yeah, I'm here said it doesn't even make sense. This man's on to be her father. It's
You
like
know
talking
what?
to a child. It's pretty gross. I don't know. You don't know what?
Well, I don't want to
He
be
says,
choked.
well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes,
And
you
then watch
do.
the pause. Yes, you do.
I don't think
I don't think you have a choice.
I don't know. Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at and you're
All
just gonna
right.
hang
So
up
that's
on
it.
me.
It's
So
starting
I
over.
feel
Okay.
like
So I'm going to pause it. It's starting over. So yeah. So that was the odd interaction. All right. We got more people that think the tape is edited. Have y'all ever heard of an awkward pause? Absolutely. There are definitely awkward pauses. I think the flow of the conversation and how you don't really have a choice is just a weird thing to say. But of course, on the side of Tony Buzbee's position is when you tell a woman you don't have a choice about being, choked, then clearly, in his view, that's saying that you are accustomed to doing this, that you feel accustomed to this. Biggie says that she feels like the silence is a pregnant pause. This is why they like young girls. They can freeze them in their tracks. 56 dating 19 is disgusting. Yep. And keep in mind, she's recording it. She knows she's recording him. So she knows that she can, she knows what to say in order to not look ridiculous. So she can control her tone and he does. I can't believe he doesn't assume that it was recorded. Thank you so much, Pink Global, for becoming a member. All right, let's get into this lawsuit now. We got enough of the backstory. I will add chapters to this. So if anyone wants to jump to the lawsuit, you can do so. All right, here we go. Here we go. So now we've got, this is about to piss me off. Here we go, guys. We've got the lawsuit. All right. So this is in Nevada. She lives in Nevada. Apparently, so does he. All right. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Attorney, legally a 60-year-old can date a 19-year-old. Yes. Are you a real lawyer? 19 years old. Anyone want to answer that question for, what is it, legal code? Let them know if I'm a real lawyer. Let's see. Are you a real lawyer? 19-year-olds have a right to moral autonomy. Well, thank you, legal code, for your personal opinion. Thank you for sharing. All right. Now, back to the news. I'm still disgusted that a man his age would even risk it. Oh, someone asked about the girl. The girl's name is, I don't even know if I should say it. The girl is Hispanic based on her name. Yeah, Gabriela Zuniga is what was posted. And so she is a 21-year-old Hispanic woman. All right. Plaintiff Jane Doe complains of him. It says, a woman can say yes to consensual sexual relations with a man 99 times. But when she says no, even once, that no means no. Defendant Shanon Sharpe, a man who's accustomed to getting what he wants, completely fails to understand this basic concept. After many months of manipulating and controlling the plaintiff, a woman more than 30 years younger than he, and repeatedly threatening to brutally choke and violently slap her, Sharpe refused to accept the answer no and arred the plaintiff. despite her sobbing and repeated screams of no. So my guess is going to be that when we listen to the audio and or the video, by we, I mean the jury, because they're going to save it for them, that it's going to be an audio of her sobbing, crying, and saying no. It says defendant Sharpe is a 56-year-old former NFL superstar. Here we go. This is really annoying me. Hold on. Got to move my camera. It's in the way. Superstar. He claims to be one of the most successful sports media personalities in the country. Plaintiff is a young woman in her early 20s. In 23, she was working out at a gym in LA when Sharpe approached her for the first time. Previously, Doe had noticed Sharpe watching her during her workouts. At this time, she was just 19. At the time, she did not know who he was, only that he was another older man ogling her at the gym. Doe could tell Sharpe was much older than her. She found him physically intimidating. Eventually, he introduced himself. At his determined insistence, she gave him her number. So she was not initially interested and apparently didn't know who he was at first. Over the next couple weeks, Sharpe incessantly pursued her. He constantly approached her at the gym and attempted to contact her frequently with calls, text messages, asking to meet up. Unwilling to take no for an answer, eventually, plaintiff gave in and agreed to meet him outside of the gym. However, before doing so, Sharpe demanded that she sign a non-disclosure agreement or an NDA, something plaintiff found a bit concerning. She wondered why Sharpe was so insistent on her signing an NDA. She refused. Despite his repeated efforts to get her to sign, she refused time and time again. Eventually, he dropped the issue and invited her to his house. Oh, he is a lawyer's worst nightmare. Lawyer's worst nightmare. So we got line 20 or 21 that says, Sharpe demanded that she sign an NDA, something she found concerning. I can understand at 19. Yeah. She wondered why he was so insistent on her signing one. Well, because he's worth millions and millions of dollars, baby girl, and you're 19. It would be me as a lawyer, if he were my client, it would be malpractice of me to not encourage him to have, especially the women you don't know. Those are absolutely who you'd want to do that before a date. So, and I'm so disappointed in him, and I know he's disappointed in himself that she didn't. Because that could have, it would not prevent, if this was a crime, the crime that is alleged, it does not prevent her from reporting it, but it does prevent a lot of the media circus that would come around something like this. It says, I cannot believe, if there's anybody you need to sign an NDA, it's a 19-year-old. What followed was the beginning of a rocky consensual relationship that lasted nearly 2 years. The relationship was very unequal. Sharpe is more than 30 years equal. Hold on. You don't get with the Shanon Sharpe to go 50-50. You don't get with a Shanon Sharpe to go 50-50. It needs to be unequal. He provides the money and you provide the pussy. That's what needs to take place. He provides the money and you provide the looks. You be beautiful. He provides the money and you provide the peace. Okay. When he comes around, you be peaceful. You smell good. You don't argue. You don't fuss. You don't fight. That's how these relationships work. Again, she's 19 at the time. She may not know, but to say that it was unequal, that's why you kept going on dates with him. You wouldn't have went on dates with him if he was the janitor of the workout gym. No, you wouldn't. You would have told security on him and went on your business. Keep in mind, she is allegedly an OnlyFans model. I say that, and we'll see if it gets referenced later. I say that only from the perspective of generally girls in that industry. They know who they're influencers. So they're very aware of who other multimillionaire influencers are. And it benefits them to continue to run in those circles. So again, it's good that he is, it says considerably wealthier. He's physically much larger and exponentially stronger. Sharpe is famous and has power. Okay. Plaintiff and Sharpe saw each other on his terms and on his schedule as often as 4 times a week. I bet you he was breaking her off money. There was also the text exchange when she asked for $25,000 per butt cheek. That Shannon Sharpe's lawyers released. Okay. It says over time, plaintiff began to see Sharpe's true nature. She found him to be dishonest about his whereabouts. Okay. Sounds like she thinks she's his girlfriend. He would lie about seeing other women. Are you his girlfriend? While insisting to her that she and he were exclusive. Okay. She felt like she was the girlfriend. Okay. Even though we never saw them out publicly, but all right, let's keep reading. Okay. If you're the girlfriend and it's a girlfriend to somebody like this, who's always at the ESPN and awards shows, you're going to get invited sometimes. So we'll keep reading. Maybe you're on the red carpet later. We'll see. It said he often manipulated her, at times being sweet and loving to get what he wanted, and at other times being angry and aggressive to achieve his goals. Sounds like a lot of old men. Old men want a young woman to manipulate them. They don't want it. They don't want you because you're so good at reading the Bible. She discovered over time that Sharpe was extremely emotional and possessed an uncontrollable temper. He displayed the characteristics of a true narcissist. Probably a lot of very powerful men got there from being narcissists, especially a lot of men in sports. It says he wielded his power, influence, and celebrity to control plaintiff and get exactly what he wanted whenever he wanted it, all the while jealously guarding what he considered his for himself. By October 2024, Sharpe's behavior had grown progressively worse, beyond anything plaintiff had experienced with him before. At this point, he was insistent upon recording their activities in bed. Okay. Now we know that because he recorded with Michelle. It says sometimes without her knowledge. Sharpe was also sharing the videos with others without her permission or knowledge. You cannot do that. No. That is revenge porn. Whether you post it on the internet or not, you show it to your buddies, that's revenge porn. Sharpe would repeatedly tell Doe that he wanted to do to her things that would make no other man want her. Ew. By this point, Sharpe was no longer able to credibly maintain that the relationship was exclusive. He had at this point accidentally or purposely, to advance his career, went live on Instagram while having sex with another woman. Sharpe flew into fits of anger when plaintiff noted his infidelity to their relationship or called him out about his extraneous activities. What had once been manipulation, control, and intimidation now became something far more dangerous and sinister. Sharpe even figured out how to get into her apartment complex without her permission. He made it, I can tell you how he did it. It's very simple. He's Shanon Sharpe. All he had to do was walk up to the front desk, say, "Hey, I'm Shannon. I'm here to see Gabby. Hold on. Let me up that elevator. Let me up there see Gabby. Let me see up there, Gabby." When you're that kind of a celebrity, it's assumed that you want him at your door or up to your unit. It'd be like if, I don't know, if Rihanna came to, I don't live in an apartment, but if I did, and she came to your front door, you better let her up. Don't you give her no trouble. Don't you give her no drama. But obviously, this is male, female. It says, anyway, I'm saying the implication that he did it criminally, he doesn't even have to do that. He's Shanon Sharpe. It says, Sharpe made it clear that what Doe wanted was of no moment, that Sharpe would get what he wanted when he wanted it. That's usually what happens when you're dating with a multimillionaire and you're a poor person. That's usually what happens. And you're young and you're one of the many. In October 2024, Shannon Sharpe violently sexually ate her and put it in her bottom. It said to plaintiff 2 different times in Las Vegas, Nevada, blatantly ignoring her request for him to stop. And he did it again in January. Okay. Wait. In October, he violently did it and did that to her and to plaintiff 2 different times in Las Vegas, blatantly ignoring her request for him to stop, and did it again in January. Hold on. I'm about to put up the statement. Wait, because somebody's lying now, and I don't like liars. I'm about to put up the text messages because the text messages have a time frame. Now, remember, guys, we just saw where Mr. Buzbee, hold on, I got it here. Mr. Buzbee has specifically said all the things that he's talking about happen, like that. All of the text messages that were shared are not relevant because they all happened prior to the event at issue. Hold on. I'm going to pull up the text message from yesterday. We got to be clear. We need to be clear about this. We need to be clear. Let's look at this timeline of these text messages. The way my ADD is set up, we got to address this right now. Because I'm seeing something that does not seem trustworthy. All right. I'm going to put the text messages up. These are the texts. Let's do page 1 first. Let's look at the time. All right. So, because this lawsuit just said that it was October 2024, and then he did it again in January. Oh, it says, Courtney said the suit came, funny how the suit came after his $100 million deal. Hold on. Let's look at the time frame. This is a statement from his lawyer. We got October 7th. I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me. October 7th. Now, October 24th was that's 2023. October 24th of 2024 is supposed to be when this happened. So this is more information. Hold on. Here's another set of texts. We got, this is 23. This is January, August. Okay, it went all the way from August. There's another text. This is August 11th of 24. And then goes to January 1st of 2025. So, okay, this is important. So remember, he said that in the petition that we just read, it said that he did it first in October of 2024. But then it says right here, she texts, I know you missed this big juicy butt, $25,000 for each cheek. She asked for it. Give her $25,000 for each butt cheek. She asked for that January 1st, which would have been after he R'd her in October, according to Mr. Buzbee's own timeline. And then it says, in addition, there, according to Shannon, consensual continued until January 2nd, the day after she asked him for $25,000 per butt cheek. I'm just saying, y'all let me know in the chat. What I'm just saying is that Buzbee's statement that the text shared all occurred prior to the incident that gave rise to the R's is untrue, because he's specifically saying, and we'll put the lawsuit back up, he's specifically, and then again in January. Come on, Lawyer Symone, show the facts. Okay, we're gonna keep reading. What we got here, it says, okay, consider He did it again in January. Plaintiff left Nevada temporarily to escape defendant Shannon. She now seeks justice through this action and other means and seeks compensatory and punitive damage of $50 million. She's a resident of Nevada. He is too. I took out his address. So that's why you join the membership, y'all. You get all these documents. I redact stuff like that. So if you want to reshare it, you sure can. Allegations related to all the claims. Now, it says Shannon is a former NFL star, well-known sports media person. After a 14-year career in the NFL, he's considered by some to be one of the greatest tight ends of all time. He is a 3-time Super Bowl champ, recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. Upon retirement, he transitioned into sports broadcasting, quickly achieving success in the industry. He spent several years at CBS before moving to Fox, where over a decade he built a reputation for strong opinions and hot takes. In 2023, Sharpe joined ESPN, where he remains employed today. In addition to working at First Take, he hosts his own widely followed podcast, interviewing high-profile athletes, entertainers, and public figures. That's true. Sharpe claims he made $6 million from one episode. I think that's the Cat Williams episode, and is alleged to be signing a multi-million-dollar deal with the Volume Media Group. That is no doubt. Also, I want to note, remember with Fox News, a few months ago, I covered the lawsuit with Fox News where a woman was alleging harassment on the job, sued a few people, including Joy Taylor. Remember, that woman had nothing negative to say with respect to how he treated her, Shanon Sharpe. That doesn't mean he can't be a problem in this case. I'm just reminding you that in that case, she noted he wasn't a problem, but that an argument actually existed between Skip Bayless and him because their CEO, I forget what his name was, but the CEO of Fox had lied to Skip and told Skip that the reason that the plaintiff in that suit didn't want to be with Skip is because she was already messing with Shannon. And so Skip and Shannon ended up having a falling out And there were a variety of reasons, but messy, petty stuff like that at Fox News was part. Okay. Now it says Sharpe's legacy extends beyond the field and media, and in one glaring area is not good. It says Sharpe has a documented history of abusing and mistreating women. As an example, he is currently a defendant in a lawsuit before the Supreme Court of New York, facing claims from a woman of intentional infliction of emotional distress, among other things. Many of the allegations in the New York case are eerily similar to his actions toward plaintiff here. That one was filed. Oh, that one is still pending. That was filed 2 years ago. So, y'all, I don't think that can be the Michelle, because it says Michelle Evans versus Shanon Sharpe filed January 27th of 23. If someone could look it up for me, I think that whole Michelle gate was after that. I don't think that was 2 years ago. I think it was more recent. But it says, I have to look it up. But that's interesting that suit has really been held quiet for so long. It says, according to the New York suit, Sharpe forcefully subdued the plaintiff in that case, forcing her to hold on. I need to see this. It's being blocked by something I haven't. It's being blocked by something I have in the way. Forcing her to perform, I think is the word. That pissed me off. Forcing her to perform forcing her to her knees and subjecting her to non-consensual oral despite her repeated protests. When she resisted, he persisted. He would not take no for an answer. According to the New York lawsuit, the plaintiff therein feared for her safety, just as this plaintiff does now. The New York lawsuit further alleges that Sharpe escalated to non-consensual vaginal, all while telling her that he would make it so no other man would want her. These words were apparently not a one-time thing. Plaintiff here, too, has heard Sharpe say those exact same words to her. In September 24, Sharpe live streamed himself. That was a different Michelle. September 24, live streamed himself on accident having sex with a woman. Upon information and belief, he did so on purpose to seek media exposure and attract social media views and attention. To live stream himself, he would have had to deliberately swipe right on Instagram to activate the live feed. Sharpe claims it was accidental. However, discreetly recording sex without his partner's knowledge is something he's known to do. He did so with the plaintiff herein. Also, multiple people talked about how it wasn't an accident. And if you remember, around that time, there were some gay allegations because he had a disgruntled gay stylist that previously worked for him, no longer worked for him, that was basically implying that there was more of a relationship, allegedly. It also says plaintiff discovered Sharpe had been secretly recording their encounters without her consent. When she confronted him, he summarily dismissed her concerns, claiming the videos were for his own personal use. That, too, was a lie. Upon info and belief, Sharpe, on multiple occasions, shared the recordings with friends and associates. At one point, he even forced plaintiff to have sex with him while FaceTiming one of his childhood friends named Bucket. Whenever plaintiff would get up the courage to object to his outrageous conduct, which was not often, he would aggressively and angrily put her back in her place. That is what old men do. They yell at you. They yell at you, and they are controlling. They picked you because you're controllable. To any teenager thinking about dating a 56-year-old. Shanon Sharpe isn't just a sports icon. He's something far worse. He's a flawed, narcissistic individual who spent years using his fame and power and influence to manipulate, control, subjugate, and violate women. With this suit, plaintiff intends to put an end to this egregious conduct. Hold on. Yes. SS also said he was hacked and apologized, admitted that he did the live. Oh, interesting. Interesting. All right, let me pull this back. It said Shanon Sharpe isn't just a sports icon. He's something far worse. Oh yeah, we did that, the narcissist part. It says January 23, the beginning of a consensual but deeply manipulative relationship. Don't doubt that. It says Sharpe first. Hold on. Sharpe first met plaintiff at a LA gym in 2003. Sharpe would deliberately watch her in such a way to make sure she knew he was watching her. Yeah, men do that when they want to pick you up. One day, as she finished the set, she found him standing inches behind her. He told her he had noticed her at the gym and wondered why she had not introduced herself. This was the first time they spoke. Plaintiff at the time, who had just turned 20 years old, oh gosh, couldn't even drink, was caught off guard and was face to face with a 54-year-old man she had never met. Plaintiff did not know at the time who he was. She did not know what to say nor how to feel about his advances. I would feel gross at that age. Gosh, when I was early 20s, someone 30 was gross to me. Someone 40 would absolutely be gross, and 50 be my pawpaw. I probably would have gave him nicknames like grandpa, granddaddy, stuff like that. Her rent must have been really high, really, really high, bless her heart. During their first conversation, it says Sharpe proposed a challenge, a competition to see who could lean out faster, I guess lean out weight-wise. The prize, if plaintiff won, he would buy her fake tits. Plaintiff was stunned. The implication that she needed or wanted such a thing was wildly inappropriate. Okay. Now we're lying. Now we are lying. Okay, Tony Buzbee, when you do these things in your petition, you lose credibility. I'm sorry. If I'm a 19-year-old girl or a 20-year-old girl dating a 56-year-old, the one thing I'm expecting out of this is money. Is money. Tits, booty, something. I'm not doing this out of the kindness of my heart. If so, I would be a hired caregiver. So it was not wildly inappropriate to offer her probably a $30,000, it could be a $20,000 gift, fake tits. And this is Vegas. Also, again, I don't know when she started being an OnlyFans model, but if she was already an OnlyFans girl, fake tits is an investment in your business, baby. He's investing in you. It's not inappropriate. You sound like a liar now, Tony. It says, hearing it from a stranger more than 30 years her senior made it even more disturbing. No, it is what should be expected. I would be disgusted. Okay, let me tell you something. If you're an old man and you're over here taking my time up, making me hang out with your old behind, probably got some erectile dysfunction or whatever else, and you're not offering me very expensive gifts like titties, we don't have a problem. I'm gonna be offended with that. It's inappropriate though. I don't think it's inappropriate. If you're dating someone, it's not inappropriate. I don't think it's inappropriate to offer them tits. I actually would want tits. And if someone is like, I don't need them or whatever, then you could say, okay, well, I can offer you something else. But I don't think it's inappropriate. Now, it'd be inappropriate if you walked into the local Luby's cafeteria and told the cashier, you know what you need? Some tits. I'll give you some tits if you do such and such. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, would be inappropriate. Or if you walk into, your local 7-Eleven and you tell the cashier, I hope you're having a good morning. Would you like some tits? I think what you need are some new titties. No. This is a situation where generally the expectation, especially if you're being intimate, is that he's going to make your life easier. Isn't that what all the girls talk about on the Instagram? Is that if a man is willing to ask you for sex, he should be okay with you asking him for some money. I'm just saying. Let's keep going. Here we go. It says, wildly inappropriate, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Throughout their subsequent encounters at the gym, Sharpe made sure plaintiff understood who he was, a celebrity and TV personality. Got it. Over the following weeks, Sharpe made himself unavoidable. He was at the gym when she was, constantly called and texted, demanding she come to his Beverly Glen mansion. Plaintiff repeatedly declined and made excuses to make her seem too busy to see him, but he wouldn't stop. Sharpe would not be deterred. Eventually, she gave in. But before she could meet outside of the gym, Sharpe made another demand that she had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. He refused to explain why and would not let her see a copy of the proposed agreement. He simply insisted she sign one. She refused. After multiple attempts, when he realized she would not cooperate, he dropped the issue. Again, don't have a problem with that. The only thing that does is that tells me he was stupid for proceeding without a signature. That doesn't make me feel like he's a predator. That's actually a good business decision. The bad business decision was to continue running around town with a teenager unwilling to sign an NDA. And I can't be mad at her for not wanting to sign because, first of all, if you're an influencer, all this stuff you're experiencing, girl, that's content. This would have made for a real good story time, and it ain't too late. Although Tony Buzbee will probably fire you if you do. All right. No. All right. We're on page 6. It's not that long. It's only like 14, but a lot of it is legalese that we can skip through. Revealed from the start, part C, the violent, aggressive, and controlling nature. The first night, Plaintiff went to Sharpe's house. The experience was unlike anything she has dealt with before. Disturbing, unsettling, and given his subsequent conduct, very illuminating. When plaintiff arrived at his house, it says, hold on. When she arrived at his house, okay, so my thing, okay, there we go. When she arrived at his house, Sharpe opened the door to his mansion without a word. No greeting, no acknowledgement, no small talk, without so much as looking at plaintiff. What did she think this was? Did she think this was a telenovela? I know she's a cute little Latina. This is not a telenovela. You are dealing with the elderly senior citizen, okay? In the country of Belize, he is of retirement age, 56 years old. He gets all kind of incentives if he lived in another country, okay? He is of retirement age. He is a senior citizen who wants some chocha. He wants your buttercup. So no, what are you expecting? He's going to hold you and look into your eyes and tell you he loves you? Oh, no. It says he simply turned away from her. He opened the door, turned away from her after opening the door, and walked upstairs as in, come this way, take your panties off, and let's go to town. I'm about to buy you some titties. Work for it, ho. That's what he meant. It says plaintiff hesitated, but followed as she did not know what else to do or where else to go. When they reached the bedroom, Sharpe, mind you, this is after they had already made the titty gamble. Okay, they had already made the titty wager where she leans out, she gets some titties. So he's probably coming up here trying to inspect the titties, inspect the merchandise to see what's what. It says when they reached the bedroom, Sharpe pointed to the bed before disappearing into the bathroom and shutting the door behind him. He still had not said a word. Plaintiff sat on the bed, waiting, unsure of what to expect or if she should leave. Roughly 5 minutes later, he finally emerged, but still said nothing. Instead, he turned off all the lights and lay down on his bed. Plaintiff, uncomfortable and unsure of what to do, lay down as well. For roughly 10 minutes, there was nothing but silence. Oh, that sounds so awkward. So she's laid here. I wonder if she did like this so she could cover her titties. I would have did like this. Like, don't even look at these titties. The bet is off. The wager's off. Don't even look. She said without warning. Then, without warning, Sharpe placed his hands on plaintiff's neck from behind, pressed his erect penis against her body, and said his first words of the night, I knew from the time I saw you, I was going to F you. Woo! Doe and Sharpe then engaged in oral. Oh, gosh. Wait a minute, but if you were laying down, how'd he do all that? For roughly 10 minutes, there was nothing but silence. Then, without warning, he placed his hands on the back of her neck from behind and pressed it against her body and said, oh, this here, and then, okay, like maybe like humping, and said it. Okay, I know from the time I was going to F you. Doe and Sharpe then engaged in oral. As they did so, Doe at some point realized he was using his phone. Oh, no. He was apparently recording her. Plaintiff could see that he was trying to be discreet, but it was obvious what he was doing. She said nothing, scared to confront him for what he might do or say. When it ended, he rolled over and went to sleep. And I know he snores. He looked like he snores like a big old bear. He snores like a polar bear, probably. Plaintiff could see, it then says, he rolled over and went to sleep. At some point later during the night, he woke up, grabbed her by her vajiggle-jaggle, and began doing it to her. Again, like sex. Oh, gosh. So she stayed. Wait a minute. He went to sleep. Girl, that was when you were supposed to pick your panties up and run. Get out of there, honey. You stayed for a sleepover? The next morning, Sharpe woke up roughly at 4 a.m. to shoot a media segment for sports TV. He woke her up as well and told her, you need to leave. You need to leave, he said. But he informed her that she had to be back by 9 o'clock on the dot. It's probably around his bedtime because he's 56 years old. The following night, plaintiff arrived at his house approximately at 9:05. Oh, no. And she was late. You are ruining Papa's sleep schedule. Yes. I mean, you should take the money off the dresser. Girl. So she arrived at 9:05, just 5 minutes past the time he demanded. The moment he opened the door, plaintiff experienced his rage for the first time. He immediately launched into a verbal attack. He screamed at her, berating her for what felt like hours. He accused her of disrespecting him, wasting his time, and warned that if she wanted to be with the Shanon Sharpe, she would have to learn obedience. Plaintiff was terrified and feared for her physical safety. Still enraged, Sharpe turned off the lights, grabbed her by the neck, and just like the night before, began having sex with her. The cycle of control, fear, and submission became routine, yelling at her, controlling her, forcibly grabbing her by the neck when he got upset, saying he was going to, quote, kill her, and asserting dominance became the norm. I would love to know whether her OnlyFans content, whoever knows what her, anybody know what her ad is? Put it in the chat. I'm curious whether any of her content is dominatrix style. That's going to become relevant. Okay. Then it says, Lord have mercy. Over the next, so mind you, this was the first night. Okay, what was the date? This said it was January of 2023. Okay, so after this night was when we saw that there was a lot more text messages where she's texting him and telling them, put a dog collar on me, choke me. All this happens after January of 2023 when this occurs, and she's frightened. Said when they, here we go, next page. Over the next year and a half, plaintiffs saw him at his house as often as 4 times a week. Sharpe continued to treat her like an object. That's what they do, especially in Hollywood and Vegas. All right. He continued to control her, not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically. Can't sue for that. He demanded complete control over her time and body, expecting her to be at his house on his schedule, at his command, whenever he called. Here's what I want to know. Y'all, I want to see your questions in the chat as you're listening to this. One of my questions is, I want to know, how much money was he giving her? At this point, how much money had he given her? Because listen, if you effectively, it sounds like she might have been like a paid hooker. If he's giving you money to compensate you for your time, then I don't consider this abuse. But let's find out. If he's giving you an allowance and blah, 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 blah. Oh, Justice has a good point. He lost it on Ocho Cinco for being late once. He went nuts on the podcast. He definitely seems like a control freak, blah, blah, blah. I agree. It said the verbal abuse never stopped. Second paragraph. He would berate and degrade her just as he had from the beginning. One time, specifically, he was yelling at her while there was a firearm visible in his room. Okay. All right. Really? A firearm visible in the room? I believe you. But I just feel like this is the type of writing, because with complaints, it's only supposed to be bare bones. This is clearly for the media. This is clearly to ruin his reputation. This is not for the purposes of excelling in the lawsuit, because literally all of this would be struck from a petition, and they're probably going to file a motion to have it struck. It said, terrified for her safety, she tried sharing her location with friends from her iPhone just in case, but Sharpe saw her doing this. This moment, he realized what she was doing. He grabbed her by the neck and told her, if you ever do that again, I will effing kill you. So then she goes hang out with him for another year and a half. Summer 2024, which means this happened before the summer of 2024. Where the summer of 2024, we see a plethora of texts where she talks about how she wants him to put a big black baby in her. Big black one, not a little one. Big one, because he does have a big head. Sharpe's aggression and rage continued to escalate to the point that plaintiff's friends began to fear for her safety. For example, when plaintiff was with her friends, they could hear Sharpe yelling at her over the phone and would ask her if she was safe and if she was okay. In summer of 24, plaintiff and Sharpe each moved to Vegas for their own separate reasons. Sharpe liked to say that plaintiff followed him to Vegas, but that too's a lie. Once in Vegas, Sharpe again insisted that plaintiff sign an NDA. She refused, and again, he persisted. But after enough resistance, he let it go and continued seeing her multiple times a week. His behavior did not change. He remained erratic, controlling, and verbally abusive, all while telling her that he was committed to a sexually exclusive relationship with her. Again, this is so stupid. If you've at this point, sir, if you've asked her all these times to sign an NDA and she says no, it's because one day she's going to do exactly what she's done here. So Shannon, we can't even feel sorry for you. We can't feel sorry for you at this point. This is a textbook what not to do when you've got money. Have you ever looked in the mirror, Shannon? You are literally a big, strong black man, old black man. And when you are dealing with women who are dainty and young and so forth like this, a tree is not going to sympathize with you. They're going to sympathize with her, which is exactly why you should have stopped dealing with her when she wouldn't sign. That is totally her business. It says, in the summer of 2024, plaintiff and Sharpe, okay, going down, it says, he remained erratic, controlling, and verbally abusive, all while telling her they were exclusive. Okay. Then in November of 24, Sharpe humiliated her. He live streamed himself by having sex with another woman on Instagram. Blah, 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 blah. He made jest of the incident on his show Club Shay Shay and on Nightcap. But for plaintiff, it was anything but funny. He had repeatedly assured that they were in an exclusive relationship. This was a lie that not only hurt her emotionally, it made her fear for her sexual health and the risk of STDs. I can understand that, girly. At this point, plaintiff began to pull away from Sharpe. She stopped answering his calls and stopped telling him where she was, and he would demand to know. All right, we're almost done. Plaintiff's feeble attempts at freedom and independence further upset Sharpe. He began flooding her phone with calls demanding to know where she was. He called relentlessly, multiple times a year. The harassment became so unbearable, plaintiff frequently began leaving Nevada, determined to cut off communication, resist his efforts to control her, and attempt to reclaim some control of her life. It took courage for her to make this effort. She remained terrified, even though she was thousands of miles away. Sharpe simply would not accept independence or freedom from her. In October of 24, just after plaintiff returned from Europe, Sharpe's behavior became more angry, aggressive, and now violent. October 6th, he assaults her and threatens, quote, "I'm going to make it so no man will want you again." Let me tell you, that whole saying, "I'm going to make it so no man wants you again." You guys don't forget about my book. Definitely check it out here. Or you could schedule a consult with me anywhere in the state. That I'm going to make it so no man wants you again. It means y'all are about to do some dirty, freaky stuff. It could mean booty licking. It could mean putting things in your bottom. But that's what that means, so that no man wants you again. It doesn't mean or it could mean I'm going to give it to you so rough, I'm going to split your little hole open. You're going to be wide open as Sojourner Truth. I just use Sojourner whenever I think of like lack of elasticity, just simply because of the fact that, she had 15 kids. Anyway, someone, CLR is saying, what audio is everyone bringing up? Earlier in this video, I played the audio. It's audio of an exchange between the plaintiff and Shannon, where Tony Buzbee is claiming that it confirms that he was abusive. However, when we played it earlier and listened to it, it sounded like it was chopped. It sounded like it was edited, and it also didn't necessarily make sense. So another component of this is in Shanon Sharpe's attorney statements. He posted text messages from her to him that go all the way from 2023 to January 1st of 2025, where she's asking him to do it to her rough. She is making a plethora of sexual requests. So that you have to, when you weigh whether you want to go with the truth in this petition or something else, I generally take into consideration text messages, because if someone had done something violent to me, if they'd AR'd me, I'm not later going to ever ask them to have sex with me. I'm not going to want to be intimate with them, blah, blah, blah. So there's alleged to be a tape. We have heard audio only, but they're saving and some other even better tape for court. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's one where she's whimpering and she's saying, "No, daddy, stop, stop, stop." Because I've said that before. Nobody hurt me. But let's continue. We're almost done. Again, October 6th, this was before she asked him for $25,000 per butt cheek. She does ask him for that January 1st of 25. On the 6th, it says plaintiff was working out at the gym, following her usual routine. As she worked out, she saw Sharpe aggressively approaching her. She could tell by his look and the way he moved quickly towards her. He was furious for having been ignored. Remember, she's ignoring him because she was upset to find out that he was messing with Michelle in that leaked Instagram video. As soon as he got close, he told her, "Sit the F down or I'm going to kill you." Plaintiff refused. "I don't want to talk to you. You cheated on me." His response was dismissive and controlling as usual. He said, "You don't have a choice." Sharpe demanded that they talk in private. Again, plaintiff told him no. She made it clear she did not want to talk to him, be alone with him, or want him coming to her home. But Sharpe didn't care. He never took no for an answer. Sharpe forced plaintiff under threat to get into his car and go to her house. To get into his car and go, she must not have had a car, because I'd be like, no, I'm taking my own car. How's my car going to get in my house? Maybe she had an Uber. Or maybe she didn't have a car and just Ubered. It says, once Sharpe was inside her apartment, plaintiff tried to keep the conversation in the living room, but he refused. He demanded they go to the bedroom. She said no. He didn't listen, nor did he care. Once inside the bedroom, Sharpe grabbed her from behind and forcibly positioned her to perform oral. He held her in place and had her begin performing. He became even angrier and said, "You've disrespected me so much. I'm going to punish this asshole." Told y'all. I told y'all. He wants to punish her butthole. He said, "I'm going to make it so no man will want you again." Didn't I tell you? He was going to stretch her body out so much that the next man will be like, "You ain't got no walls. You ain't got no walls." Right? That's what that means. It doesn't mean I'm going to punch you in your face so you're black and blue so no man wants you. It means I'm going to stretch you out with my private. Ugh. Plaintiff at this point was crying and sobbing. Tears streamed down her face as Sharpe repositioned her and took her from behind and inserted himself into her. As he forcefully did this to her, he said, "Turn around and look at me." So he grabbed her head, forcing her to look at him as she sobbed. He said at this point, "Look at this. Look at my arm. I've got chills. That's how good this is." Okay. Y'all. He said, he then turns her, "Look at this. Look at my arms. I've got chills. That's how good this is." I'm going to tell you what this sounds like. This sounds like role play. This sounds like role play. It sounds like he got the chills and was so excited because she got to crying. She got all the way into character. He probably wanted her to call him daddy or any other weird stuff like that. Flute Bay said, "Girl, you reading this lawsuit like it's a nasty romance novel." I am. It's real nasty. Like slave play or what? No, it's okay. Hey there said, "No, in BDSM role play, it has to be an audible yes, else you're using the safe word." But if you're audibly, if what he says is, "I want you to cry, I want you to act like you're in pain," and she's doing that, then I could see where that would be why he would say, "This is the best performance. Look at you. Look at my arm. I've got chills. That's how good this is." It sounds to me like two weirdos who like this form of role playing, and where perhaps this is one of her best performances to date, where Jack, he would definitely want the woman to be the sub. Jack said she is the sub. He was, okay, so hey there is teaching me with BDSM, then you still say yes. And maybe that's not what this is. I don't know what this is, but it's weird. It's weird. What does it say? I had an ex tell me about another guy. I told him that I've already had that done. He got a little upset and hung up on me. Ooh, got it. All right. Someone said she might be leaving the part out. I don't know. But okay, let's continue. We're almost done. It says, "Sharpe forced himself on her and AR'd her despite her sobbing in agony as it happened. He told her in the moment as she was crying that the experience was so good it was giving him chills. Sharpe's behavior demonstrates that he believed plaintiff to be his personal property, possessed and owned by him." That's exactly what it is when you want that dominant, subservient. That's exactly what you do, or what your goal is, to feel like this person's your property, owned by you, and that you can do whatever. He also believed that the laws did not apply to him, that he could take what he wanted, and that no one could or would stop him. He was and is wrong. Okay, let's keep reading. It says, now we're going to January. That was in October. Now we're in January of 25. The other was October of 24. Sharpe assaults her and R's her, ignoring her screams and refusing to wear protection. On January 2nd, he told plaintiff he wanted to see her. Sharpe persisted and reminded plaintiff that he had a combined Christmas and birthday gift to give her, as he previously promised a gift. She ultimately allowed him to come over to her apartment. She regrets the decision. That's what it says in his words. Mr. Buzbee, you sound ridiculous, because that's who wrote this. One of the lawyers wrote this. You sound ridiculous. You have just outlined this horrific instance that took place in October, where she was painfully hurt, allegedly, and was crying and was fearful. And it'd be one thing if it said, and so she met him at the gas station, or and so they met at Starbucks because he wanted to apologize. But you're telling me she then re-invites him to the same location he did it last time because he's giving her a gift? Now, first of all, if he did this to you, you deserve a gift. Make him mail that sucker to you. Put it in an Uber Cargo. Those are real cheap. But you're not coming back to my house to hurt me. You are not coming to my house to hurt me again. I don't understand that logic. Y'all got to help me. Help me in these comments. It's not making sense to me. And this little stupid sentence Tony Buzbee asked, she ultimately allowed him to come over to her apartment. She regrets that decision. That don't make it make sense. You sound stupid for even writing that. She ultimately regretted that. Y'all think? She's suing him now, fool. Now, mind you, this is all after she told this man to put a collar on her and choke her during sex. And multiple times after she told him she wanted him to put a big black baby on her, a big black baby in her, correction. And, this part, refusing to wear a condom. Oh, no. Oh, see, you play too much. Now we got to go to this part. We got to go back to the section where she, in his text messages, she tells him, she tells him, quote, only if you can do this, only if you put baby gravy in me, that's semen, then I can do whatever, then you can do whatever you want to me, typo. That was November of 23rd. She also says, I want to put my tongue in your butthole and then marry you. That was January of 24. And she also says, that's my daddy, F. I want you to put a big black baby in me. So you see the daddy, I don't know, certainly not daughter, daddy and whoever the heck, that's part of the whole submission play. But if you're saying, I want you to put a big black baby in me, and she also later says, you better crave it because you're going to be stuck. Understand the upset about no condom, but okay, but maybe it was because, you can always change your mind, right? You are always entitled to change your mind, but perhaps it was because at this point she caught that he was messing with Michelle. I don't know, but this is all ridiculous. Let's keep going. We're almost done. He said he wanted to see her. Sharpe persisted, reminded her that he had the gift. Once inside her apartment, he began undressing. Plaintiff firmly stated multiple times she would not have sex with him without protection, demanding he wear a condom. She knew that in the past he refused to ever use condoms and believed her demand would stop him from having sex. But after he refused to use a condom, he still insisted. She tried to resist. She screamed. She had already expressed concerns for her safety, knowing that he had been involved with other women, increasing the risk of transmitting a disease. Just like I said, right? She was like, hey, no more big black babies because you could give me a disease. The more she begged, Sharpe became more aggressive and made it clear he would not wear one and was going to have his way. Now, I bet you anything, because this was at her house and she's ready this time, I bet you anything she had cameras set up all up in that house. She's probably got great views. She's probably got a camera in her bedroom, one in the living room. I bet she's got an excellent camera for this excursion because she knew he was coming. It was her house. She could set it up as she wishes. It says Sharpe grabbed her, pulling her around and positioning her to perform oral, which lasted for roughly, let me see. How long? 2 minutes. Wow. She's good or he's bad. Not really sure. Then Sharpe repositioned her and roughly forced himself. Plaintiff never stopped demanding and begging that he stop or to put on the condom. He ignored her. Well, he's probably also ignoring her because prior time she's like, I want the big black baby. I bet you anything, though, he probably wasn't worried about the big black baby because he's probably got a vasectomy. There's no way he wouldn't have a vasectomy. The way that these men like to be all loosey-goosey and don't want to get trapped, he's got a vasectomy. So that's probably why he thought, I can just give it to her raw. But I bet she's got cameras that were posted up in that bedroom that are going to have her talking loud, put one on, and he dismissing her because they probably have never used one before. And him thinking, this is how we do. I'm the dom. You call me daddy. Da, da, da. Oh, he's probably going to be screwed. Not necessarily because he did it, but because he was stupid. It could be either one of the two. I'm not saying he's innocent, but I am saying he's stupid. As soon as he penetrated her, plaintiff screamed and sobbed. Her cries for help did nothing to stop. It had lasted roughly 10 minutes, and then only when he finished in her. She cried and begged repeatedly. He left Nevada after the assault. Plaintiff brings these causes of action to recover damages as outlined. It's imperative that he and men like him are held accountable. So the first claim is for assault, S assault, battery, and then S battery. The next one is for intentional infliction of emotional distress. So it's only 2 claims. Intentional infliction. Hold on, let me make sure I'm saying it right. Come on. Intentional infliction. Sorry, it's covered on my side. And then it said engage in conduct that was extreme and outrageous so as to exceed the boundaries of decency in a civilized society. Namely, he caused her to experience mental suffering by causing her to worry about her safety and well-being. Time and time again, he reinforced that fear with verbal threats. He engaged in this conduct intentionally, knowingly, and willfully. His conduct caused her injury, and she has sustained much pain, suffering, blah, blah, blah. Accordingly, she's entitled to recovery against him, and she's going to want punitive damages and everything else. She wants general damages of $10 million. Special damages. General damages are usually like the actual cost of you going to a doctor or this, that, and a third, like cost that can be quantifiable. Special damages in the sum of 10, punitive of 20 million. That's for really egregious conduct, and then statutory of 10 more. She also wants her attorney's fees and the cost of litigation, which I believe you can get in that state. And Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Shannon said the tape was about 10 minutes. So she might have planned it. Oh, in the conversation where it said, oh yeah, when they said that there was editing. Hold on a second. Unedited Borden, according to the legal team. Hold on. To set the record straight, were released, was consensual, contrary. These are the statements. I'm trying to see if I see a discussion of how long the tape was. The edited tape that she taped taped and showed to him during her blackmail attempt tries to falsely portray, as a result of this editing and out of context, that it was not consensual. He now believes her secret taping was all part of her planned setup as part of her blackmail scheme, as distorted by her edited tapes, a copy of which she refused to make available to Mr. Sharpe or his lawyers. Mr. Sharpe categorically denies all allegations and sees this as an egregious attempt to blackmail. He stands firmly in the truth to fight these claims in court. He looks forward to vindication, blah, 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 blah. I don't see any mention of 10 minutes, but maybe that was elsewhere. But yes, 10 minutes. That's about how long I expect him to be able to go. Just like financial. And a secretly recorded video of a consensual encounter. The video is heavily edited and taken out of context, crafted. I told you. She had them cameras. She was ready for him to come back over. She has refused to provide a copy of the unedited version. I believe they're going to provide a copy, but it'll be hard, or may or may not be hard, to determine to what extent it was edited. I guess you need the whole 10 minutes. I don't know. The coming, the going, the all of the above. And if he could maybe prove through his car or through his like cell phone that, that it went on longer or shorter than whatever the tape was. It says, who am I thinking of with one child? And he says, and he was worried about Ocho Cinco showing up for work. He said it was 10 minutes in the video in the video he released today. Got you. Okay, let me see if I can get that video. Hold on. Let's compare the video to anything that we read in here. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Shanon Sharpe video. It's probably on TMZ. We need to compare. We need to compare. And he's demanding the full tape. Of course he is. Is this? Oh, wait. It says a 30-second clip of a tape that tries to make me look guilty will be released by the accusant. He's demanding the whole 10 minutes be shown. Let me see if I can find this video. Hold on. Let me see. We're going to get, I want a video. Somebody drop in the chat if you have seen the video. Because I see a lot of videos talking about it. Oh, wait. This might be it. Okay. Hold on. Here we go. We're going to share this tab. I think I found it, guys. All right. Just a second. We're going to remove the other one. And we're going to share this one. Ooh, my little hair. All right. Thank you so much. She's the one. All right. We are going to, let me turn on the sound and we're going to listen to this bad boy.
And supporters and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown.
Let me know if you have any issues here.
Transparent and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Buzbee, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Buzbee targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Buzbee want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks. To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Buzbee, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Buzbee targets black men.
All right,
and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you can possibly imagine.
Let's see.
That
what is
video should
Nevada
actually
law on
be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on
Got it. All right, so we got it.
Gabby and
That's
Tony
enough of
Buzbee
that. Okay, hold on. We got it. We got it.
What they're getting is sued for.
All right, we heard you, so we heard you. All right, someone said, sounds like greed to me. Hold on, we're going to remove this one. We're going to add this one. Says, sounds like greed to me. What are we going to do? All right, it says, here's a 56-year-old black man chasing a 20-year-old Caucasian woman. She's Hispanic, but I get you. From OnlyFans. Make it make sense. No, he played himself. And the fact that she refused to sign an NDA should have been a clue. Here's the thing with an NDA. You can ask for a mutual NDA. If a guy presented me with one, I would look over it and I would make sure that it's mutual. Meaning he can't talk about me and I can't talk about him. I don't have a problem with that because you should not be trying to monetize off of your experience with me unless it is mutually agreed upon. Shannon played into stereotypes his own darn self. How about stop being stupid? I think that's a good idea. I think that's exactly what he should do. It says Unc needs to tighten up. I don't know what to believe. Sounds like he got caught slipping. Shannon needs to get here's one thing that I think people that, anyone who wants to be in the limelight, influence, or anything should take away from this. One thing that I was shocked is so far, we have not heard a bunch of sponsors saying that they're pulling out. We haven't heard it publicly. They might actually be doing it privately, but we haven't heard that yet. But I think a large part of that is when you have the podcast, when you are your own boss, you control so much more of that. So maybe you go from this type of sponsors to another types of sponsors. Maybe you can start helping more. Instead of Draft Picks being your sponsor, maybe it's other Bitcoin or those kind of entities that, don't have as much, they don't care about this kind of thing necessarily. But I also think I think with the climate that we have, particularly with this coming out after the Jay-Z lawsuit, which was found to be false, he's very lucky in that he's probably going to get a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt Thank you. It was DraftKings, not DraftPicks, whichever. He's probably going to get a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt to allow more evidence to come out than he would have had Jay-Z not sued and proved that Tony Buzbee's other client was straight up lying. It said he could have settled down with a good woman, but he don't even like women going to the toilet. That's true. He needs to reevaluate his life choices. Right. If she was Ard, why didn't she have him locked up? So now technically all you're able to do is go to the police and file a report. What they do with that information, the victim can't control, the alleged victim can't control. And what we'll never find out is if she did that and the police chose not to press charges, Buzbee's not going to put that in a petition because it implies the police didn't find her to be credible. And if she did that and they are filing charges, well, we'll know that because Buzbee's going to hold a press conference to tell the whole world. So chances are she gave her statement, and the police, at least at this point, are not pursuing it. He's problematic with me with the buddies. It doesn't. Yes. But the other thing I said yesterday, so mark my words, I said yesterday, if he were my client, another thing I feel like what he had done wrong is, number one, if he is my client, when I had told him, okay, give the girls you're dating, one of these NDAs, get the signature back. I would probably check back in. We'd have lunch periodically. I'd be like, okay, who you're dating now? He'd tell me about it. I was like, oh, I don't have her NDA. We need to get it. And then if he doesn't, I would start harassing him and sending him text messages. Give me the goddamn NDA. Or I'd be like, dump her. She's setting you up. That's how I text my clients when it's serious like that. But more importantly, from the day, girl scheduled the mediation, and when mediation started lingering for 6 weeks, buddy boy, that's when you should have done a defamation lawsuit or extortion, however you want it. That should have been it. Not waiting for all of this, because when you do it like this on the offense, then it makes it look like you're just doing it to get back at her. If you compare what Jay-Z did, Jay-Z filed his lawsuit against Jane Doe and Buzbee prior to them even suing him. He did it himself as a John Doe, her as Jane, but named Buzbee. Now, I'm sure that pissed off Buzbee, and then like a week or two later, Buzbee sued him. But because the lawsuit was inevitable, that was why he chose to get ahead of it. That allowed for him to save some face in front of sponsors and other people. There we go. Other people, because it allowed him to be in a position of a victim. Because he was pursuant to the lawsuit that he pursued. So it says those Rock Nation lawyers, yeah. So when you wait until someone doesn't, and then you react like this, you can, but also, as I've said before, it's very difficult to win a defamation suit that's based on any type of lawsuit. The reason being is because, number one, attorneys have immunity. That basically, unless you can prove that the attorney just flat out knew everything was a lie, attorneys are given immunity, because otherwise we're always going to get sued for pursuing our clients' cases. So the immunity basically says, as long as I took on this case with goodwill, in good faith, basically did my due diligence, firmly believe this was a legitimate case. As long as I did that, even if my client is 100% lying, you can't get me for it. You might be able to go after the client, but you can't get me. But then the client themselves also gets some immunity, because the exception was created because otherwise, like people would sue a company and say, this company hurt me or whatever with their product, right? Remember the case of like the woman that sued McDonald's for a hot coffee. McDonald's would be able to turn around and sue that lady for defamation and silence her. That's why the law came in and said, wait. You can't file defamation if the only defamatory statement your claimings were made were the statements in the petition to sue you for doing something that person thought was wrong. Because otherwise, you're forcing someone to prove their case prior to the time that they're required to do it in the legal process. So he can file it. He's probably going to file a defamation case, and it's going to sit there, and it might help his image for a little while. But like Jay-Z, in Jay-Z's defamation case, Jay-Z was the lawyer in that case basically said, you got to come up with some better evidence of extortion or of defamation, or I'm dismissing the case. That actually is why Jay-Z then filed against Buzbee and that lady in Alabama, because it was the California judge that said, listen, there's immunity here for Buzbee as a lawyer. There's a form of immunity for a victim bringing a suit. There's an allegation that she only withdrew her comments because she was scared. And therefore, under defamation, I don't see you winning. And the proof that he had at the time for extortion was a little wonky. So he said, okay, I'll go over to Alabama. He filed in Alabama using documentation from private investigators that went to that same alleged victim, where she admitted to his investigator that she told Buzbee it wasn't true. It didn't happen. XYZ, XYZ. Hit that like button, guys. We got over 600 watching, but over 327 likes. So in the end, this case is going to be long and drawn out. I don't anticipate this being resolved with a motion for summary judgment or any of that. I think that it's probably going to stall this $100 million deal that Shannon has coming if he has not already signed that deal. And if you missed it earlier, TMZ allegedly revealed that at the mediation, which lingered for 6 weeks, whatever was presented at that mediation, she was offered $10 million and said, no, I want to go to court, which I personally think is goofy, because this is a civil case. The only thing available for you to get is money. And it's not like by going to court, she cannot also pursue a criminal case. What I think is that she probably, my guess would be, number one, she thought she could get more. And number two, she may actually want to eventually be public. She may want people to know who it is. Let me tell you, if that girl goes public and she's an OnlyFans model, as they say, you know how many people are going to hit that page, look at those titties? And I don't even know. That's the other thing. That whole petition said, the whole thing started with, he said, y'all are going to do a competition on who could lean out the first, and that if she leaned out her body first, he'd buy her some titties. Did she get the titties or not? Where are the titties? Where are the titties? I need to know where the titties are. I want to know, is he a man of his word? I think that should go into the analysis. Now, when you wanted these titties, did daddy get you these titties? He called himself daddy because they're gross and they're weird. I don't understand. So if someone knows her OnlyFans, I think we should support her. Please drop it below. I'd like to do a little investigation. I've never subscribed to anything on OnlyFans, but I might start with her just to see whether she got the titties. Or if one of you guys wants to do it so I could save my little $9.99 or whatever it's going to be. Yeah, I saved my $9.99, and you guys can tell me what those titties look like. Now, I'll tell you, technically, it is against the license agreement for you to like screenshot the titties and send me a text. But since I am a lawyer, I think it would be okay. We'll call it attorney-client privilege, and I promise not to share it on the internet. After Singh says, I don't believe the $10 million offer. I think they were angling for that. I don't either. Yes. Okay. Well, I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I am going to add some chapters because I know this was fairly long so that you guys can enjoy it. Please share this with a friend or somebody on Instagram. We need more followers so I can get more coins. All right. Thank you. And more deals. Love you guys. Can Buzbee be disbarred? Not yet. He hasn't done anything wrong yet. Drop your questions below. I want to make sure that I answer them in a follow-up video. And I am going to pull the lawsuit from New York State so we can see what he's alleged to doing to that other Michelle. Oh, she's Carly on OnlyFans. Okay. I need a little more details than that, but thank you, GLS, for helping. All right. Bye, guys.